diving is surprising. Reefs of great contrast and diversity. Soft coral-laden pinnacles, shallow hard coral gardens, current-swept channels, and pelagic rich drop-offs. Strong ocean currents through barrier reefs lead to calm and protected coral lagoons. Fiji's diving is diverse and dynamic. Here you can swim the whole gamut of underwater experiences and still never see it all. If variety is the spice of life, then Fiji is diving's red-hot chili pepper. Soft corals are only symbolic of Fiji's complete story. The soft corals' vibrant colors and giant size, the massive clouds of fish and clusters of invertebrates that live among their branches, the dramatic changes they undergo in their daily dance to the rhythm of tides and currents, and the many types of underwater environments in which they thrive. Fiji's remarkable soft corals embody all the elements that make Fiji's reefs so exceptional.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to our Caradonna Adventures Master Series. And today we are featuring Volivoli Beach Resort, and Sandy Riley is going to be taking us to Fiji. Following the presentation, we will have a question and answer session at the very end with our agent, Kim Mackey. But go ahead and take us. It looks like it's amazing. Thanks, Sandy. Sandy, I think you have to unmute.
There we go. Nisa Bulla, everybody. Welcome to Fiji. Elise, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you great. Thanks.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to Fiji, everybody. My name is Sandy Riley. I've got the pleasure of being the marketing manager for Volivoli Beach Resort. You saw a beautiful introduction of diving in Fiji. Fiji diving is incredibly diverse. Now I want to show you our beautiful resort. We are a family-owned resort and we're in the very northern tip of Fiji. Now, how do you get to Fiji? Well, we're a group of over 300 islands situated in the South Pacific. So the easiest ways to get to us is there's a direct flight from Los Angeles, leaving at 10 o'clock at night, arriving into Fiji every day at about 5:30 in the morning. So that's a direct flight on Fiji Airways. Flying every day from Los Angeles to Fiji. Now it's a 10-hour flight. It's a nice overnight flight. I find it's a glass of wine, a movie. You wake up in the morning and you're in Fiji. There's also a flight 2 days a week via Los Angeles as well. Now for anybody who does want to fly via New Zealand or Australia, we are only a 3-hour flying time from New Zealand and there's multiple flights a day. That is when we're all flying. And it's only a 4-hour flight time from Australia. Now I do want to show you where we are in Fiji, and we're in the very northern tip of the main island. So there's 4 regions to dive in Fiji, and I do understand that you have had Waidroka talk to you about diving in Pacific Harbour, Pacific Paradise Resort, which is up in Taveuni and Savu Savu. We are right on the very edge of what they call the Bligh Waters or the Vatura Strait. We're very fortunate because we have over 50 dive sites that we access from the resort, and our diving, as I mentioned, is very diverse. So you arrive into Fiji, into Nadi International Airport at about 5:30 in the morning. We pick you up and we drive you up this coast, which is a 2.5-hour transfer time from the airport. Now what you're coming to is an area called the Suncoast. We have more sunshine hours than anywhere else in Fiji. And I'm going to ask Javier in just a moment to play us a short video so you can see what the region is like. It's very rural. And we are out on a beautiful little peninsula on the very, very northern tip. So accessing our dive sites is very easy. So as you will have seen from the video, we are in quite a rural region. We're actually the agricultural growing centre for Fiji, which means that every day one of the owners of our resort actually goes to the local markets and gets all of our fresh fruit and vegetables. So we're very, very fortunate for people who want organic. We're in a great area to be able to supply beautiful fresh fruit and vegetables and fish every day. Now, as I mentioned, we're on this gorgeous headland. So we're 17 acres on the property. We are situated, as I said, on the very, very northern tip, and we've got this great sand spit that extends out into the ocean. So volivoli, for anybody who'd like to know, in Fijian means sand, and that's because we have this 80-metre sand spit that extends out. Now, the wonderful thing about the resort, and you're kind of looking down on the resort at the moment, got a bird's eye view, is we have 2 house reefs that are directly off the beach. Now, on all of our dive packages, we do unlimited shore diving. So you can pop along to the end of the sand spit. It's about a 10-metre drop to access the first house reef, or to the right-hand side, the second house reef. Now, as I mentioned, we have unlimited shore diving. So to give you an overview of the property, you come down into the reception. Our gorgeous, the Fijian word for small house is bure. So we have these beautiful valets or bures situated around, and every room's got a 180-degree ocean view. Our dive shop and our beach bar are located right down here on the beach, and our boats literally just moor straight off the ocean. So at high tide, our boats can come straight into the beach. You step from the beach up a little ramp straight onto the boat. Very, very easy access. When the tide's out, we now have a pontoon built out here at the end of the sand spit. So pop along the end of the sand spit, onto the pontoon, onto the boats. And then we whip you straight off into the Bligh waters. Now, our first dive sites are accessed probably about a 15-minute boat drive. And as I mentioned, we have over 50 dive sites. We have just built these gorgeous luxury villas down here on the left-hand side with their own swimming pools. What I'd like to tell you first is a little bit of the history of the Darling family who own the resort, and why we love Fiji so much. Personally, I've been diving Fiji for over 30 years. I've been very fortunate with the things I've been able to see and experience in Fiji. The Darling family, Nick and Steve, run the resort for their parents. Now, they came to Fiji when they were only 7 and 8. Their father got the contract to build the one of the main construction highways from the capital Suva up to our area of Rakiraki. Now, the boys attended local primary school. They grew up in Fiji. They both speak Fijian. When they reached high school, they were sent to New Zealand to do their high schooling. And then they returned and they bought a dive operation called Ra Divers. Both of the boys are PADI master instructors. And we started diving people from the area of the Bligh waters. Now, as the resort began to grow and the boys grew up, they got married and their wives and their children were born at Volley as well. So it's a really family-orientated resort. You've got owner-operators on site. Now, we were going along fantastically, and then in 2006, we got completely wiped out by Cyclone Winston. And we did a massive rebuild of the resort. So the resort that I'm showing you now is our newly opened brand new rebuilt resort. We reopened in 2017, and we've been adding to the resort since then. I think the easiest way is give you a little fly through the resort, and Javier is going to do that. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. There's another little short video that just flies you through the resort so you can see what we're all about, and then we can have a chat. Thank you, Javier. I really appreciate that. I'm just going to come back and we're going to finish sharing my screen. So as you can see, the way the resort's situated, every room has a 180-degree ocean view. We don't have anybody stuck down the back of the garden shed. Now, we do have a beautiful large main swimming pool, and accessing the beach is very, very easy. So I'm going to move you on now. You will have seen at the beginning of the opening slide is I'm really proud to say when we did the rebuild the following year in 2018, we achieved the Fiji World Excellence Award, which we won the category of quality accommodation. So it was a lovely acknowledgement from the industry that the rebuild has gone really well and that everybody is enjoying the resort now. We do have a boutique on site. Natalie Darling, one of the daughter-in-laws, stocks the boutique, and she makes a real point of making sure that the boutique is stocked with local produce. So she's very passionate about supporting local artists and a lot of charities. We have some beautiful artwork from Beyond the Reef, which is a charity supporting single mothers out on some of the outer islands in very poor conditions. So we are an award-winning resort, really, really proud to say that. And we also say that we give an island experience with mainland convenience. You will have seen from our locations that right out on the headland there, that when you drive out to Volivoli, you have the feeling like you're on an island. But actually, we are only 20 minutes from Rakiraki Township, and Rakiraki Township has a small shopping area. So you have pharmacies, a large fruit and vegetable market. As I mentioned, this is the agricultural growing centre for Fiji. So fabulous farmers market there. We also have a doctor on a 24/7 call out, and there's actually a hospital in Rakiraki as well. So you've got all those conveniences close by. Now we are a dive resort. All of the team are divers. So you're looking at a resort that's being built for divers by divers. Now we have 33 villas, so we're small and intimate. We're a 4-star boutique resort. But we do have, we are Kiwi, so we like to make sure that everybody's hydrated. So we do have 3 bars and 2 restaurants on site, so lots of options. So we have a lovely big swim-up pool bar. Our main restaurant is the Nuku Bar. Now on all of our dive packages, you do have a full meal plan. And I have to tell you, the food at Volivoli is incredible. We have an amazing executive chef, Kappa, and he's very passionate about infusing a Pacific Island fare with a European palate. So it's wonderful. Our restaurant is open for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And we do have an acoustic guitarist playing every evening. A couple nights a week, we also have a kava ceremony at the restaurant. Now, Joey is our barman. He would simply be one of the best barmen in Fiji. He makes the most incredible cocktails. And so we do have multiple cocktail hours happening around the resort when you come back from diving. As I mentioned, the food is spectacular. We do have a lot of seafood in the region. So we have this gorgeous dish called kokonda, which is a little bit like ceviche. Our pork is sourced locally. So on that meal plan that I talked about, you do have 7 courses a day. Now, 5 days a week you can eat from the a la carte menu. The other 2 nights we actually have, we want you to feel like you are in Fiji and that you have a Fijian experience. So all of our staff will be they'll greet you with a beautiful bula, which is like aloha or welcome. It actually means good life. So what a beautiful way to greet people when you see them. So our staff know your name within a few minutes of meeting you, and they'll often be like, "Bula John, how are you doing? Were you diving today? What are you going to do after diving?" They're very, very interactive. Fijian people are incredibly hospitable and just a beautiful, beautiful culture, very safe culture. So we have a meke once a week, which is a Fijian night. And we have this down on the beach. You have a lovo, which is all the food is cooked in the ground in a traditional way. But Kappa, there's our gorgeous chef right in front of you, smiling there. He produces these incredible dishes. One of my favorite is he does baked tuna and aubergine, and it's just divine. So we do have a meke, a traditional Fijian welcome, and everybody who takes part in the meke are our staff, or they're from the local village of Milaki. Now let's just have a look at the style of accommodation that you can expect. We do have a family villa that sleeps 6 people. This is very good if you've just got a small group of divers coming to the resort. But our premium rooms, our top grade room, is our new luxury oceanfront villas. So we have 4 of these. These villas can sleep 4 adults. They have 2 en-suites as well, and a beautiful private swimming pool that is situated right down by the ocean. Our premium ocean view room, so I'm not sure if you remember the little fly through that you saw and the overview, but there was these little houses, and we have 11 of these on the hilltop. These are perfect for a couple traveling together. And you can imagine that every morning you wake up, just going to go back here, looking out to your ocean view. Our deluxe ocean view rooms, now these were purpose built for our dive buddies. So a couple of dive buddies traveling together, everything in the room is doubled up. You've got double luggage racks, double desk, 2 queen size beds, and then in the ensuite, you've got double hand basins as well. Again, you step out on a lanai with a stunning, stunning view. Our ocean view rooms, these are our budget rooms. They have a queen size bed and 2 singles in them, good for a single person who's traveling on a budget as well. But again, you step out on a lanai with a stunning ocean view. Now, some of the things you can do when you're not diving. And we do cater well for non-divers as well. So if you're traveling with a partner who's a non-diver, we have a beautiful Domani spa. So our massage therapist does phenomenal treatments, and they're all organic. She uses coconut infused body scrubs, sugar scrubs, and our treatment room overlooks the ocean. What we want to talk about though is our diving, don't we? So you saw at the start of the video the incredible diving that Fiji offers, and it is very, very diverse. Of course, I'm completely biased, but I believe the Bligh Waters offers not only incredible swim-throughs, wonderful drift diving, but we have very, very healthy reefs in our region and multiple dive sites. So the diversity of what you're going to see is going to be incredible. We do have nitrox at the resort. We do encourage people to dive nitrox and be nitrox certified. We can cope with regular air as well. We do have that facility, but we just believe that nitrox is a lot safer in general. You can see down here on the right hand side, again, I'm completely biased, but I do believe that we have the best dive operation in Fiji, because perhaps it's because we're the newest. We did the massive rebuild. So you can see our compressor room down there, absolutely pristine. All of our dive guides are local. So although the Darling family own the resort, and you will meet Nick and Steve during your stay, we want you to have a Fijian experience. So our head dive instructor, Paolo, is absolutely fantastic. Personally, he's trained both my children as divers. Now, we do have SSI, PADI and NAUI codes at the resort. And our dive operation means that we are able to assist you with technical diving as well. Simon Doherty is our dive operations manager. Simon was the area manager for Asia Pacific for SSI. So technical diving, he's extremely good, and we can help you with that as well. Now, our boats, you want to know how comfortable you're going to be on our dives. We have 2 large dive boats. The Vatu takes 14 passengers, and the Bligh takes 18. It is a simple on and off the boat. As you can see up here on the right hand side, you're stepping off the beach, up a ramp, Now we're concierge style diving, which means that you're not going to have to lift a tank. Your gear is washed every day for you. So typically what we ask our dive groups to do is once you get into your room is remove your computer and your camera gear, and then all the rest of your gear is put outside your room. It's picked up by our dive boys, and as I said, it's washed and cleaned and dried every day for you and ready for your diving. Our boats are very, very fast, and so we're able to access the dive sites quickly. When we go out right into the Vatura Strait and deeply into the Bligh, our furthest dive sites are about an hour and a half away, but our closest dive sites are only 15 minutes. Now we do have a head on both of our bigger boats, so it's very comfortable. And then we have half cast. Half cast is our fishing boat. We tend to use that for an overflow. We do take a maximum of 36 divers at the resort. Now, the kind of diving that you can expect: beautiful swim-throughs. Fiji is well known for its soft coral, extremely healthy reefs. We do have some really good macro as well, and on those two shore reefs that we have really good muck diving. So that's unlimited shore diving on our two house reefs. Beautiful schooling fish. We have barracuda, wahoo, mahi-mahi. Now, the other things that you can do when you're not diving. Typically what we do is 2 dives in the morning on a 2-tank day, and then you're back by lunchtime in time to have a beautiful meal down at the Ra Bar or up at the main restaurant at the Nuku Bar. And then you can spend the afternoon relaxing, or you can do some shore dives. On a 3-tank dive day, normally we take the boats right out into the Vatu, and you'll actually have lunch on the boat and then returning about 4 o'clock in the afternoon doing a 3-tank day. If you do want to add extra tanks, that's not a problem. We can arrange that. If you'd like to do night dives, that again is not a problem at all. We just need 24 hours notice to ensure that we've got those tanks put aside for you for the night dive. So when you're not diving, the things that we offer is we have a beautiful hike up into the Nambaraseri waterfall. Now, the waterfall is the largest waterfall in Fiji. It's only been open to the public in the last 18 months. And this is a great day tour. It's a half-day tour. It's about an hour and a half drive from the resort. You're greeted into the local village. You go into the meeting house. You're blessed. You're given permission to hike up to the waterfall. It's about a 45-minute hike. And then you come back down and you have lunch in the village, and you get to spend some time with locals and actually see how Fijian lifestyle takes place. Just bear with me. I'll get rid of something on my screen. Now we also have complimentary use of kayaks and stand-up paddle boards. Now we do have full rental gear available at the resort. I should have said that. So if you don't want to lug all of your gear from wherever you may be coming from, we do have rental gear available at the resort as well. On our dive packages, obviously, your weights and your tanks are included. Now we have spinner dolphins in the region. This is a phenomenal tour. I did it last year myself. We take the boats out. You get to observe a pod of about 40 dolphins, and then we put you to snorkel a reef close by. If the dolphins choose to come up and interact with you, that's fine. If not, we don't put you directly in with the pod. We want to observe these beautiful creatures in their own environment. We do a sunset cruise, so that's our gorgeous resort manager Geraldine, who you'll get to know, and Joey, our acoustic guitarist. So at about 4:30 in the afternoon, it's onto the boat, out for bubbles and canapes near the island of Nui Ra. You watch the sunset, and you get to swim in the ocean, which is fantastic. So moving on now. I mentioned that Rakiraki Township is close by. So this is a phenomenal local market, and because we are the agricultural growing centre for Fiji, the market's really interesting. It's about a 15-minute drive from the resort. You can take a private taxi and the return trip will cost you about $20 US. This is well worth doing, and you get a real taste of that local experience there. Our staff, as I mentioned, 99% of our staff are all local. They come from the villages of Malaki and Rakiraki close by, and they are phenomenal people. We're very, very fortunate with our staff. So let's talk a little bit about why you'd choose Volivoli over perhaps a different resort in Fiji. It is family owned and operated. This is the Darling family up here on the top left-hand side. Now, this is a dress-up day in Fiji. This is Melbourne Cup Day, which is a little bit like Kentucky Derby, which we hosted at the resort. So you've got Nick on the right-hand side with his wife Danielle, mum and dad in the middle, and then Stevie and his wife Natalie on the left-hand side. So mum and dad live about 15 minutes down the road from the resort. Steve Senior, you'll see at the bar. He owns a construction company, so 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he'll be at the bar having a beer, having a look at who's in his house, there for a chat. And as I mentioned, both the boys live on site with their wives and their children. So the boys are down here on the left-hand side, getting ready to go out for a day of diving. The pictured right down the bottom there, this is, you've got Stevie, you've got Simon, our dive operations manager. He's the good-looking guy with no hair. You've got me in the middle there, getting ready for a day of diving. And then on the right-hand side, you've got Brad. Now, Brad's not technically one of our staff. Brad works for Fiji Water. He stays with us regularly. I think he's up to about 23 visits at the resort at the moment. So on his birthday, we gave him a staff t-shirt because he's one of the team. Now, the reason you'd come to Volley, it is family owned and operated. We both the dive resort and the dive operation. So any challenges, anything that you want to change, adding more dives, any concerns that you've got, we're actually there on site to help you have the best experience that you possibly can. Having said that, our staff are fantastic. Now, we are a PADI and SSI dive facility. We have nitrox. We can provide fantastic diving at all levels. Every room has an uninterrupted ocean view. We have fishing, stand-up paddle boards, day spa on site. We do lots of day tours, so there's lots of interesting things to do and see in the region other than just diving. Our location is beautiful. We're in this safe and very isolated part of Fiji, but you are still on the mainland. You're not having to hop on a boat and go out to a resort or take another internal flight where weight can sometimes be an issue on those smaller flights. And we are brand new because we had to completely rebuild. So that kind of winds up initially my presentation. We'd like to show you a little bit more about diving in Fiji. And if Javier, I will stop sharing my screen and we'll show you a little bit more of what Fiji offers you, because that's really what you want to see. And then I'll come back and answer any questions that you've got towards the end.
Drama and diversity, brilliant lavish panoramas, deep water rich with food and shelter for the mysterious and rare. Fiji's marine realm is as splendid and unpredictable as nature can be. But to dive Fiji is to indulge in much more than the planet's prettiest soft coral and reef fish scenery. The nation's 300-plus islands and atolls are entwined in a complex system of barrier reefs so vast that an entire lifetime would not be enough to see them all. With about 1,000 species of fish, several hundred types of corals and sponges, an infinite array of crustaceans, mollusks, anemones, worms, and other invertebrates, plus new animals still being discovered by divers and described by scientists, the shallow coral garden and the deep sloping shelf can reveal something different on every single dive. From busy cleaner wrasse working feverishly, camouflaged ambush predators lying in wait, or banded sea snakes swimming without fear. But look away from the reef into the endless blue to encounter creatures of such size, grace, and power as to take your breath away. Divers in Fiji commonly meet grey reef sharks and silvertips patrolling walls and congregating in reef passages. Hammerhead sharks cruise near seamounts and pinnacles. Schooling during the day, hammerheads become solitary hunters at night. Elusive bull sharks stealthily patrol deep channels. White tips, tawny nurse and leopard sharks are often found sleeping on sand or in caves. Using their electroreceptors, lemon sharks scan the seabed looking for a meal. Black tips scurry curiously along lagoon shores, and even giant whale sharks are sometimes sighted feeding on the plankton and spawn from the coral reef. Morays nestle in reef caverns, almost posing patiently for diligent divers. Cleaning stations are great spots for observing animal behavior or stopping by for some dental hygiene and a manicure. Humpback whales migrate here from Antarctica to mate and give birth. Fijians have been protecting their reefs for centuries by declaring some of their fishing grounds tambu, or no-take zones. Manta rays hover over reef-top cleaning stations or somersault in currents to feed. Nutrient-rich upwellings sustain resident populations. Barracuda swirl into sunbeams and trevally school tightly to guard against predators. Tangs and butterfly fish swarm at the mouth of channels where tuna squadrons compete with giant grouper as chief sentinels. Octopus use numerous defense strategies against predators, color and texture change for camouflage, and the explosion of ink. Turtles, protected in Fiji, nest upon sand cays and graze on reef plants, allowing for close encounters with divers. Everything has its place, and Fiji underwater is a place that has some of everything.
So as you can see, we're so fortunate with the diversity of what we're offering in Fiji. And there's this beautiful shot here I'm pretty sure this is, yeah, it was one of my favorite dive sites, which is called Purple Haze. All the corals are beautiful and soft and purple and indigo and really, really bright colors. So Javier, I think we might stop it there if that's okay, and take any questions that people might have.
Thank you, Sandy. That was really wonderful. Truly exceptional experience diving in Fiji. We're going to have Kim come on now, and we've had a tremendous amount of questions come in for the presentation. So that's wonderful, and Kim will go ahead and try to get through as much as we can. Thank you, Sandy.
Thanks, Elise.
Hi, Sandy. It's Kim. How you doing?
Good, good. Bula, Kim.
Okay. So we have people asking when is the best time to go to Fiji for both diving and weather, and what the water temperatures are in both seasons.
Okay, we're very fortunate in that we don't have a great temperature variance between summer and winter. So our seasons are the opposite to you. So our winter months are June, July, and August. The water temperature, you'd require a 5 mil during that time. Our water temperature, you've got to excuse me because I'm changing from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So you're looking at temperatures in the late 70s. So our water temperature is around 27, 28 degrees during that time. As I mentioned, our water temperature between summer and winter only varies by probably about 4 degrees Fahrenheit difference. So it definitely in the summer months. So our summer is basically from December, January, and February. Now, January and February typically are our wet season. So it's hot, very, very humid, hot, muggy, and that's when we tend to get our rainy season. So the clarity of the water is not particularly, it's not prime season during January and February for the clarity of our water. Our winter months, June, July, and August are personally my favorite times to dive Fiji are actually March, April, May, and September, October, and November, which is your spring or your fall months. The water temperatures, it's really pleasant during that time. Often I will dive just in a spring suit as opposed to even wearing a 3 mil. But the temperatures are not as warm as what you get, like, for example, in the Caribbean. So does that answer the question, Kim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
We had Darren, I think his name was, let me find him. Yep, he was asking, he said he was in Fiji in 2018 and the reefs had suffered from the cyclone, and he wanted to know how they are nowadays.
Okay, so I'd be interested in what region he was actually diving, because as I mentioned, there's 4 regions. So we had Cyclone Winston come through Fiji in February 2016. Volivoli was actually right smack in the eye of the cyclone. It was a category 5. And what we found was our land took the major hit, probably because of our location being right on that point. It took the majority of the cyclone and our resort was destroyed. But our reefs only sustained 10% of damage. We didn't get sea surge because of being right on the Vatura Strait and the Bligh Waters and the way the reefs are. What we did find after the cyclone was it was a little bit like nature just kind of cleaned her toilet bowl out, to be a little crude, and the fish life just came back with a bang. Now, what I'd also say is we worked really hard with government, the Darling family did, and we've been instrumental in having parts of our region actually designated as a marine reserve. And our reefs are pristine at the moment. We've also found that under the current environment, that our fish life and our has just been thriving. So in the Bligh Waters, I would suggest that after the last cyclone, which was 2016 for us, we sustained 10% of damage. So I'm not sure where he was diving. There are other parts of Fiji that I know sustained more damage than we did. But our reefs are very healthy, and the diving is beautiful.
Okay, that answers that. Thank you very much. Also, we have JD asking if the dives are guided with a dive master or self-guided.
Okay, so on our dive packages, we offer, like for example, on a 7-night package, you are receiving, at the moment, we've got a great special out there. It's stay 7 nights with us. You're only paying for 5 nights accommodation. So you're getting 2 free nights, and you're actually getting 2 free dives. So you're getting 12 dives in total. Now, when we talk about those dives, we're talking about boat dives, and we're talking about guided dives. So all of those dives are guided, and we take you out into the Bligh waters. As I mentioned, the first dive sites are only 15 minutes away. You can opt to also do unlimited shore diving. They are unguided. So.
Okay, and then also Mark was saying that his wife doesn't dive, and he wants to know if she can take a course at the resort, and how it is for new divers, and how's the snorkeling there if she decides, I guess, not to get certified.
Okay, so a couple of options for Mark. One is, yes, we are a full dive training facility. So depending on what code you'd like to certify in. Now, we can certify a diver in 3.5 days, but both my children at the time and their teens were going to school in New Zealand. They did the online course and then came up to the resort, and we certified them during that time. So 3.5 days we need to do the certification to complete that that qualification for them. When I mentioned that we've got over 50 dive sites. Now, I would say that at least 30 of those dive sites have the way that the coral reefs are laid out. Most of the reefs come up to literally 4 or 5 meters under the water. So at least 30 of those dive sites can be snorkeled, and it is beautiful snorkeling. So if she didn't choose to dive, there is lots of snorkeling options available for her. So that was the questions, and there's lots of other activities for her to do. As I said, she can go to the day spa every day. She can do stand-up paddleboards. She can do kayaks. We have a lot of cultural tours available as well. So it would be whatever she was comfortable with. Now, as I mentioned, both my children and their teens certified at the resort. We have great conditions for training and for first-time divers. We also have more challenging dive sites that we can take people to whose dive levels, if they're a more experienced diver and they're looking for more challenging diving. Again, I think that's where we're really fortunate, because we have so many options so easily accessible from the resort. And if you are diving with a group and you come out, and obviously we have a brief from the dive, your dive group leader on what the dive level is, or the dive skill level, but our dive masters will take the divers out on the first dive, and we assess what we believe the capability is, and then we choose the dive sites based on that.
Okay, thank you for that. Just a few more questions here. JD was asking, what is the diver to guide ratio, and is a reef hook necessary due to the currents? Okay, so our dive guide ratio is 1 to 7. And JD, I've been diving Fiji for over 30 years. I personally have never used a hook. We do have some great drift diving, but it is not, we have some beautiful, we do have currents in different places, but as I said, we choose the dive sites based on people's skill, and a hook is not required. Our dive sites are not those sites where you literally have got a hook on and hold on. If that was the kind of diving you were looking for, we would be able to access it. It's not typically where we take people. But I mean, one of my favorite dives, it's called instant replay.
You get dropped down on the reef. And this is the other thing about our dive guides. Because they're locals, they've been diving these waters all their lives. They're very, very good at reading the currents. And in our dive briefing, a typical dive briefing is they'll say to you, okay, so we've got the current running this way. We're going to drop you down over here. You're going to follow the dive group leader, dive master, for 15 minutes this way. Then you're going to come up over the top of the reef, and then the current will pick you up and you'll get swept around here, and then the boat will pick you up here. We read the currents constantly. As I said, one of my favorite dives, it's called instant replay, and you sit on this beautiful, it's a drift dive. You sit on this beautiful current going around the reef, and it's purple and orange corals and stunning. And then as you come back up, there is a current running very quickly past the other way of the reef. So you come up over the top, and then it kind of whips you around, and then you sit on the site again and do it as a second time round, which is, as I said, it's one of my favorite sites.
Okay, JD was also asking if there's a hammerhead season, or what kind of sharks maybe you might see at Volivoli.
Okay, so we do have sharks at different seasons, and I'm happy to put him, if he's specifically looking for shark information, I'm happy to put him in touch with Simon, our dive operations manager, and I feel he can probably give you more information on specific species and the seasons. What I will tell you is, when I was at the resort in January, so fortunate, we actually had a whale shark come right up to the boat, and I think it thought the boat was its mum, because it stayed, and our divers were actually able to touch it, which was fantastic. And if you have a look on our Facebook page, you'll see some video of that. That's the first time I've ever seen a whale shark in the region, but we have again many varieties. I would see sharks on most dives. We don't believe in shark feeding, so we don't do a dedicated shark feed. But obviously down at Pacific Harbour, they have the bull shark feed. And if you were to come to Volley and want to dive with us for 7 days and then go on down to Pacific Harbour, you're on the main island. It's very easy to do. We can arrange the transfer for you to go down there and do that dive as well.
Sandy, thank you. The questions keep coming in, but we're going to have to wrap it up, and we'll do a follow-up with and answer all the questions for everyone. We thank you so much for this great presentation. Volivoli is a huge demand for our clients, both individuals and dive shops. You deliver quality product and experience. When we post our Friday affirmation posts of looking forward to the future and getting back to diving, Volivoli is always pictured in our posts because it's such a dream. And we just thank you so much. And looking forward to spending more time with you and with the Volivoli experience.
Thank you, Elise. Vanaka Vaka Levu, everybody. We wish you all well. Can't wait to have you back. Our staff are just keeping the boats going, keeping everything going, waiting to see everybody coming back. Caradonna, thank you so much. I know that you bring lots of divers up to us, and your team are really experienced at knowing our resort, and we really appreciate all the support. So stay safe, everybody. Can't wait to see you back diving in Fiji.
Thank you, Sandy. Vanaka, sotatale.
Sotatale.
Bye-bye.